Hey girl, hey.
Hello.
How you doing, beach?
Oh, how you doing? I'm doing good. I am trying to change my sleeping cycle, make it a little bit better, but my body's just retaliating with, no, you should just sleep more hours instead. So, I'm sleeping a lot. That can be both good and bad. I'm a little bit more tired, but I think it'll be fine. Otherwise, I'm really good. There's really nothing to add.
I think it's kind of important for you to sleep and have some rest now too, because it's been kind of a rocky few weeks. So I think it's also your way to relax and take a little bit of a break.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think my body's just trying to calm down still.
Yeah.
After everything, and that's understandable, you know. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good actually. I'm also kind of adjusting to summer break, I guess. I have a bit of a headache because I think here too that my body's kind of like getting used to the fact that they can relax a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm doing pretty good otherwise. I'm excited about summer schedule and streaming and I don't know, being creative, having a bit of relaxation, school break. I don't know, I'm just
excited for summer. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be so nice.
I'm ready for a bit of a break, for sure.
I feel like this summer is gonna be really nice. I feel like it's gonna be good weather and it's just gonna be very nice.
Yeah, I feel so too.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be a good summer. I'm excited about spending our first summer in this apartment.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because our old apartment was awful.
God.
When you had to spend your summers there, because
it was like a sauna.
Yeah, because the thing is, we had really big windows, and all of our windows was on one side of the apartment. And they were all like covering that whole wall in both rooms, and that kind of made it like we were in a terrarium.
It was so moist.
Yeah,
so
it got
warm.
so warm because the sun would beam on it every day, all day pretty much.
Yeah.
And it was horrible.
So warm.
So I'm excited to.
I was having the LAN parties. And we had all of computers, and that made it even warmer.
Yeah, I have so many pictures and videos of my husband sitting with like a towel on his head, like a dampened towel, because it was so warm. We had to like cool our bodies because it was so hot. So it's nice now because we have like the sun is on. Is by our bed or where we sleep in the morning, and then in the afternoon it's by my office, so it kind of switches sides during the day, which is really nice.
That's nice.
The bad thing now is that we have a really big window by our bed, and since we recently moved our bed there, we still haven't been able to like adapt it into a bedroom properly, I guess I could say.
Yeah, that's true. It's a kind of big window to take care of.
Yeah, it is. And there were no drapes or anything, or blinders or anything there. So we have actually a blanket now covering that window. And because we haven't had the time or the money to buy any blinders, so right now it's kind of just beaming sun on a really hot fleece blanket in the mornings.
No.
So it becomes kind of like it heats up the room pretty much.
God.
So we need to get some blinders soon for sure.
But it seems like the cats enjoy that. You showed me pictures of Soma just sitting behind that fleece.
They love sitting there, and they sometimes we've had a lot of mornings where they kind of try to curl up in the fleece blanket, which instead results in them tearing down the fleece blanket. And since I just sleep in my underwear, Simon has to like get up and get me a t-shirt or something so I don't expose myself to the whole neighborhood. So it's a whole mood. So we need blinders for sure.
You're just standing up with your hands on your hips. Good morning, world.
Yeah. I'm almost at that stage. I'm like, soon I just gotta embrace it.
Who the fuck cares?
But yeah, so we need some proper blinders for sure.
I get that.
So,
Like the proper ones that, what are those called in English? Mörkläggningsgardiner.
Oh, like darkening curtains or something.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I don't think we're gonna go quite there. I just want blinders.
Okay.
Pretty much. We have so there are 3 windows in that window, if you will. So there's like a one big window in the middle, and then 2 minor ones by each side.
Yeah.
And the 2 minor ones, they have blinders, but the middle one does not.
Oh, okay.
And so I want to get new blinders for the middle one, so we can just. I mean, that's kind of fine. And then in the future, we're probably gonna get curtains, but more for decorative purposes, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
But now mostly it's just blinders. I just want blinders.
Just close out the world.
Yes.
But so their sun is not on that side when you wake up then? So
yes,
it doesn't
it
bother.
is.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why when we wake up, sometimes we wake up because of the heat nowadays.
Oh,
because
shit.
It's like beaming in on the fleece.
Oh, shit.
And stuff. So that's really nice.
No.
She said with a bitter tone.
That's very nice.
But now when it's getting hotter and hotter too, like this night I had a really hard time sleeping under my covers because it was quite hot. And the fleece blanket is not helping. So we're gonna have to make that a priority.
Yeah,
soon.
I can see that. And they are not that. These regular blinders are not too expensive, right?
No, they are not that bad. It's just that
if you were getting like darkening ones, they can be kind of expensive.
Yeah, no, we're getting regular aluminum or whatever they're made of, just to match the other ones by that window.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I think we went to the store a while back because we had blinders, and I think there was a miscommunication, but the person that lived here before us said that the blinders kind of broke and fell down from that window, and she just put it in the closet, and she was like, it still works, kind of. So we went out and bought some like to fasten it with, like
some bolts of some sort.
Well, not bolts, but kind of like whatever things you need to fasten them, pretty much. And just as we started like screwing these things up, and we were just gonna place the blinders, and we realized there was a miscommunication because we think that these blinders were maybe actually in my office or something before, because they do not fit that window.
Oh no!
So we bought new.
She talked about the wrong window.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's kind of annoying, but so we need to buy a whole new blinders instead. We thought we just needed the. I don't know what to call them. I had the word on the tip of my tongue, but whatever. But we just went out to buy the tiny things, but we actually needed whole new blinders. So,
oh shit!
And we don't leave home a lot, and especially not to places where you can, like, we leave our apartment to go grocery shopping or something, but we don't go to like a big warehouse store or whatever to where you can buy blinders. So it doesn't really fall naturally for us to pick up a pair of blinders on the way home,
Let's just do that on the way. No problem.
So, but yeah, we'll have to get that done soon when we have money, because we need them real bad.
The fleece is not doing it for you guys anymore.
No, it was fine when it wasn't beaming sunlight,
Yeah, I get that.
But I've been rambling on about my blinders for a long time now, but I am otherwise really good, and I think we
goddamn blinders, man.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't spend too much time on the intro, because we want to get into this discussion of
the juicy stuff.
Oh, hell yeah, bitch. But first of all, what's your Prattle Potion of today, Beb?
Today I have freshly made coffee.
Oh, shit. I thought you said you were going to start mixing it up a little bit because you always had coffee.
Yeah, but I always have cold coffee.
Oh, so you mean hot coffee is mixing it up? Oh, shit.
But it's a small step, but it is a step. It's a shuffle, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know if I would call it that, but
it's a shuffle. It's
and
a gesture.
Honestly, I'm sorry, but but that's not a mix. That's not you mixing it up, because you got up like 1 or 2 hours ago, and we are recording this. Like your coffee is freshly made naturally. I mean, if we were to record this in 2 hours, you wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm mixing it up with hot coffee. It would be cold coffee.
Yeah,
So don't try and trick
put
me,
the coffee
ma'am.
in a thermometer? No, I did not.
Thermometer?
A thermos. I put it in a thermos.
No, I want you to put it in a thermometer. It sounds much more interesting.
Just take the temp of my coffee. It needs to be
Do
the right
it.
temp. My dad does that, you know?
Of course he does.
Yeah.
Your dad
It
is
needs
so...
to boil at the right amount.
I love your dad. He's so particular about things. Like, he gets into stuff.
Extremely.
He gets into stuff, and then it becomes like he
His
gets
world.
so focused. I love it. It's so funny.
Yeah. Right now they are into sourdough bread.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, but he doesn't
That's
like...
an art form.
He doesn't like to get like his fingers sticky, or he doesn't like making like dough or baking overall. But mom is like was super into sourdough like a few weeks ago, and then she started making that, and he was like, I want in on this hype train. He started reading a lot of stuff, and then for Mother's Day he bought her, which also means him and her, special sourdough like baskets. I did not know that existed.
No, but your dad is, like, I can definitely see he's not really into the baking process, but he's into, like, let's buy the equipment. How does it work? Like, the theoretical stuff behind it, like, the science behind it, I would say.
Yeah.
And definitely when it comes to the equipment, your dad
Oh,
loves that shit. I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's always so fun when he gets into something new, like when he was into like collecting watches.
Oh yeah. That's
Or when he started getting into bees and honey and stuff. That was fun.
yeah.
I mean, I know
And
you guys still do that.
Camera flashes.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
fishes.
Yes.
Like I called
Oh,
them,
the fish for sure. Yeah,
I was
love it.
talking to them a few weeks ago when they were out in our summer house. On a Saturday evening, you know, after dinner time. And I was asking like, yeah, what are you guys doing? And they were like, oh, we're having a glass of wine and watching some TV. I was like, oh, okay, what are you watching? They were watching sourdough bread baking videos
No.
together while drinking wine.
I love your parents, man. Fuck.
It was so cute. I didn't know how to react to that. I was like, oh, okay. That's nice.
I love how funny our parents are so different, but it's I don't know, it's so funny. Like your parents are so wholesome and like, so I don't know, they're so cute, and like my dad, he's like in his book dungeon.
He's also very cute. He's
Oh,
so
are you
wholesome.
kidding me? He's the best.
He is so
He is
wholesome.
the
Jesus.
best. Yeah, but like my dad spends his time in his book dungeon with his like nerdy stuff, and your parents are just like getting into new hobbies, especially your dad, and they're just in their summer house, and I don't know, it's funny. My mom is scuba diving like every fucking weekend these days.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. So I don't know, it's funny. Our parents are interesting people.
Yeah, they really are.
I love it though.
Oh yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
So cute. What is your
So
Prattle
cute.
Potion for today?
I'm actually also having coffee today.
Oh shit, fuck it up.
We were supposed to be recording yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, you know, that would be kind of fun because we like to mix it up between matcha and coffee, and we actually made iced matcha. Yeah, and iced tea, but like for the morning. I mean, caffeine intake. And I made iced matcha for us, and I was like, oh, that's kind of nice also to have at the podcast, or while recording the podcast. But then we ended up not recording, and I didn't feel like making matcha again, so I'm having coffee. But I'm having iced matcha in spirit.
Oh, in spirit.
Out in spirit. I have a spirit Prattle Potion today, beach.
Oh shit. Oh, if can I also have one?
Okay.
I would like a smoothie. Like a blueberry smoothie.
But But I'm like, it's not that I want it. It's
I
just
want
that
it.
I was supposed to have it during recording yesterday, but then
like,
we rescheduled.
If I
So
had
it's in
blueberries, I would
spirit because it was a
make
proper. It was a proper. It was a Prattle Potion. It would have been a Prattle Potion unless we rescheduled.
Yeah, I mean, I could also make, if I had the things, I could have made a smoothie. So.
Yeah. But if I had like
Can
wood
I
and
just
paint,
have
I
my
could build a
smoothie in
table.
spirit?
Like, fine, I'll allow you having a smoothie in spirit, even though it's not the same. It's not the same.
Wait, actually, yesterday I had hot chocolate.
Okay, that can be okay.
That
I
could
can
be-
accept. No, I can accept your Prattle Potion in spirit for today being hot chocolate. That makes more sense because you actually had it yesterday.
Yeah,
I can
had
accept
it
that. That's more similar than. Wait, you had a hot chocolate yesterday? That's so delicious.
Yeah, it was. I just got like a urge for hot chocolate. It was like,
I love it.
I want hot chocolate, so I made it out of oat milk, and it worked really well.
Oh yeah. We always drink it with oat milk. It's good.
It was super good.
Wait, was that why you guys in the Discord were talking about marshmallows yesterday?
Yeah, because I was writing into it. I was like, I want hot chocolate. And Egg, of course, went crazy because she loves hot chocolate. And then we all started talking about different kinds of hot chocolates. And we started linking.
And Dutch jumped in.
He called us nerds, as he usually does.
Yeah.
I called him a loser, and then it was over.
Love it. Classic. Remember, by the way, you guys, you can join our Discord if you want to jump in our offline conversations.
And join us.
Or offline, but it is online, but like
Offline,
off stream,
online.
off podcast.
Live conversations.
Yes, there you go.
Talk to us,
We talk about hot chocolate.
We talk about all the things.
Hell yeah, Beach. We really
Everything.
do. We really do.
Oh, hell yeah.
I also want to, before we start, I want to make an announcement.
Announcement!
For the listeners out there. This will be the second to last episode of Prattle Potion for this season. So this will be episode 19. Next week is episode 20, and episode 20 will be the last episode for season 1 of Prattle Potion. And we will be back August 6th with Prattle Potion season 2.
It's a season finale, everyone. Oh my god.
It is.
What's gonna happen?
It's gonna be off the charts. No,
Are we gonna save the world or what?
I'm thinking, but like that's the goal, right?
Yeah, that would be nice.
The goal. Yeah.
That would be nice to save the world.
But that's just a little announcement for you guys. So we're gonna finish up with Resident Evil today. It's been a long journey.
It's done today, I promise.
Yeah. So we're finishing with Resident Evil today, and next week we're gonna do a bit of recapping, I think, of what the season has been. And like I said, August 6th will be when we release the first episode of Prattle Potion Season 2 again. And we are gonna take just a summer break, pretty much. A well-needed summer break.
And if y'all miss us, you can always go back and start listening over to our episodes if you want to do that.
Hell yeah.
I bet it's quite a difference to listen to our first episode versus our last one.
For sure. I think it's quite the difference. And also, both me and Hilda, we will be streaming all summer as well. Yeah. We're having community nights with the Discord peeps. So if you want to hop into the Discord, you're more than welcome to do that. And I think that's pretty much what I wanted to have said.
Yeah. Sounds good. So we want to hop back into the world of Resident Evil.
Are you a ghost?
Am I going?
Okay, let's do it, Pete.
So we ended last episode with a small introduction to Resident Evil 8.
Yep.
I'm thinking we're going to go over that again, just to get back into it a little bit.
Love it.
And then I am going to go over the main story of Resident Evil without going into too much information about the characters for now. And then when we're done with that, we're going to start discussing the characters, things we're wondering, and I'll see if I have the answers for it. I've been trying to read up about a lot of things, but like I said last episode, there isn't any DLCs out yet for this game.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that will be. I think there's usually like a year or maybe half a year before that happens. And often when a DLC is released, that reveals a lot of lore. So for now, there will be questions and there will be unanswered things like we don't know. But we can always speculate, and there are theories and stuff like that. Yeah. So, let's start with going over the story, shall we?
For sure.
3 years after the events of the Baker House incident, Ethan and Mia have settled into a peaceful life and moved to Eastern Europe, courtesy of Chris and the BSAA. They have together conceived a daughter named Rosemary. Even though it seems alright, Ethan can't help but feel like a part of him is still stuck in the Baker's residence, and he wants to talk with Mia about it. However, she dismisses him many times and gets increasingly angry about it. One fateful night after Ethan has put Rosemary to bed, he returns down to the living room where Mia has prepared a dinner and wine for the two. Ethan once again brings up the incidents of 3 years back and feels how strange it is that everyone could let go of it so easily. As they are arguing, suddenly the lights go out and Mia is shot in the shoulder. Ethan quickly tells her to get down, but she is shot multiple times before being killed by Chris, much to Ethan's horror. Ethan is ordered to follow Chris out of the house, but as he sees one of Chris's squad coming down the stairs with Rose in his arms, he becomes furious and panicked, and he asks what Chris is doing to them. Ethan aims to hit Chris, but is overrun by the squad members and is knocked unconscious. So that is the introduction that we went over the first episode. Starts off very rocky.
Yeah, for sure. I started smiling a little bit while you were reading that, because the thing is, I just want to jump in and say this.
Yeah, but, I was thinking, I'm thinking the same here.
You're thinking the same.
I'm thinking the same.
But yeah, it's my husband has started streaming, and he has chosen to play through this game with a whole bunch of mods. And these mods are not like helpful enhancing mods, they are trolley mods.
Oh, they're
so
great.
When you said that, Chris and they were like getting Rose and stuff, I just saw that image of Chris having that sailor's outfit with the short shorts, holding Rose with Chris's head on him or her. Like, it's an image for the ages.
I recommend looking up those mods because they are hilarious.
For sure. I'm just going to give a little bit of a shout out. It's twitch.tv/gripos, GRIPOZ. If you guys want to see my husband stream Resident Evil with a bunch of fucking mods, because it's pretty fucking funny.
It's hilarious.
It's so funny because Chris is wearing the sailor's outfit, right? And it's that classic collar thing, it's like tied in the front, and it has a bit of a, I don't want to say a cape, but almost like a really short ass cape. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I noticed it says BSAA on the back of that cape. Yes. And I thought that was so funny because it's like they didn't just make it a sailor's uniform, they made it like a BSAA sailor's uniform, and I love that. And it's so funny when he goes to like flip the table that Ethan is hiding underneath, and you just see his hairy legs before he like flips the table, and he has the sailor outfit on. It's so gorgeous. I love it. I'm sorry, I just had to put that in there because when you said because I saw that image where Chris is standing holding Rose, and Rose, this mod also makes it so Rose and Chris swap heads. So the baby has a grown man's head on it. And also, but the sailor outfit mod is like overriding that. So Chris still has his own head, but with the sailor's uniform. So it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, when I was reading through that again, I was like, that was all I could think about.
Yeah. It's an image for sure. It's
something. It's certainly something. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love those mods.
Yeah.
Anyway. So he's knocked unconscious. Ethan awakes, laying in the snow. To the side is the car he, Rose, and his dead wife, Mia, were being transported in. It is overturned, covered in blood, and surrounded by dead guards. Chris, Rose, and the body of Mia are nowhere to be found.
Chris?
Chris Redfield.
You mean... Oh, you're playing as Chris?
No. Chris, Rose, and the body of Mia are nowhere to be found. Ethan awakes by the car. Hello?
I'm sorry. I'm not understanding that sentence. What do you mean, no. Chris, Rose?
Chris and Rosemary. Chris.
Oh, and Rose. I'm sorry. I thought you said Chris Rose.
No.
Like he rose up.
No.
And I was like,
what?
Wait, what do you mean? Like, are you playing as Ethan? He's the one standing up. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I did not hear the and Rose part. I'm so sorry. So Chris and Rose are nowhere to be found.
Chris
and
Rose and the body of Mia.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, it was even a comma. Okay, I'm sorry.
Are nowhere to be found.
I'm so sorry. I thought you said Chris Rose and Mia is nowhere to be found. Like Chris stood up.
Rose.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He ascended.
He ascended. To the gods. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh God. Ethan. Okay. Ethan gathers his strength and sets off on a nearby trail, following blood and dead animal carcasses. Good sign, right?
Yeah, love it.
Love that. He's like that. This must be the right way.
And they're like crows or ravens or something. My heart broke.
My heart. He stumbles across a nearby shack and begins to explore his surroundings. Soon he comes across a large village. The village seems recently deserted, and as Ethan explores it further, he encounters a villager hiding and armed with a shotgun. The man seems frantic and paranoid, like there was something Ethan couldn't see, and he interrogates him. But before Ethan can respond, the house is surrounded and overrun by werewolf-like creatures.
Yeah.
The man hands him a gun and begins to shoot in a panicked way. However, he is quickly grabbed by a large claw descending through the ceiling, dragging him up through it. Blood begins to pour out the hole in the ceiling, and Ethan makes no haste to try and get out of there. As he would, you know. He encounters waves of these werewolf-like creatures, and before he is almost killed by them, bells begin to ring from the nearby castle, and they all take off, leaving Ethan wounded and confused.
As he is, all the time.
Like we talked about that in the last episode. He's just a normal guy.
Yeah.
This is just real unlucky. He's so unlucky.
Yeah.
He soon comes across an old woman who asks if he is the child's father. When he confirms this, the woman proclaims that after Rosemary was brought to the village by their deity mother, Miranda, they had fallen into darkness, and warns him that Rose is in great danger. Ethan encounters more scared villagers, a daughter and a wounded father, and as he helps them into a nearby shelter for survivors, he quickly realizes that the wounds the werewolf-like creatures make also contaminates the victim, quickly turning them into monsters as well. He escapes the shelter after the wounded father wreaks havoc upon the last remaining survivors and sets the house on fire. Ethan sees a way to a grand castle by the outskirts of the village and decides that it must be important. He takes his chance to finding Rose there and heads into it. As soon as he enters from across the bridge, he meets with a mysterious man with magnetic powers. He is captured by him and knocked unconscious.
Hell yeah.
I love that people are referencing this mysterious man to, like, they are calling him Magneto, pretty much.
Yeah, but that's what I thought too. Like, oh, it's Magneto, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's the first thing I thought because, I mean, the most famous fictional person that has to do with, like, metal or magnetic powers is Magneto. So, I definitely thought about him first too. But it's not Magneto, Beach. It's not.
It's not. Ethan soon wakes up with handcuffs, sitting in front a gathering of people. Here sits Lady Alcina Dimitrescu, Donna Beneviento, Salvatore Moreau, and his captor Carl Heisenberg, as well as a dark-dressed figure in the back, wearing a golden headpiece. Mother Miranda.
Yeah, speech.
Woo! Woohoo! Dimitrescu!
Yeah. The ladies be pretty.
Yeah.
I know I didn't whistle for Donna, but Donna is also really pretty.
She is super pretty.
Yeah.
They are all very pretty.
Yeah.
Lady Dimitrescu and Heisenberg begin to argue who should have Ethan. Dimitrescu wants to kill Ethan and give Mother Miranda his blood, while Heisenberg wants to put on a show for everyone to enjoy. Mother Miranda decides that Ethan's fate belongs with his captor Heisenberg, and he begins to count down from 10. The werewolf-like creatures begin to close in on Ethan, and he barely manages to get back and jump into a hole in the ground. He narrowly avoids the creatures and their traps and manages to escape once more.
As he does.
As he does. He's an escape artist.
Oh, he is.
As Ethan makes his way out of the tunnel, he meets with a man called the Duke. He offers to sell Ethan weapons and supplies in exchange for currency to help him with his journey ahead. As Ethan then enters the castle in hope of finding Rose, he is once again captured by 3 young women dressed in black. They drag him to meet with their mother, who is no other than Lady Dimitrescu.
Also, 3 ladies, also really beautiful.
Very pretty, very pretty.
Yeah, all the ladies be hot in this game.
Super hot. Just side note, super hot.
Yeah.
She thanks her daughters, Bella, Cassandra, and Daniela, and orders them to hang Ethan up by hooks in his hands. Dimitrescu tastes Ethan's blood and exclaims that it's staler than she would have thought, and she and her daughters leave to inform Mother Miranda about their capture. While they are gone, Ethan manages to free himself by forcefully ripping his hands through the hooks.
Yeah.
And after traversing through areas of the castle, he once again comes across the Duke, conveniently settled in a room in the castle. The Duke suggests that Dimitrescu is keeping Rose in her private chambers. As Ethan explores the castle, he encounters Cassandra, who attacks him. He narrowly escapes by jumping down a shaft and crawls to the castle's wine-tasting room, that then leads him down into the castle's dungeon. Here he finds strange modern medical equipment and beds, torturing devices, and lots of blood and bodies. By many notes laying around, he finds out that Lady Dimitrescu has been performing numerous horrible experiments, and he also encounters the victims. These victims once had been human women who died during torturous blood-draining procedures, now revived with the help of a parasite-like virus called Kadu. However, they were abandoned since they didn't get the regenerative abilities that other projects did, and were branded as failures. Ethan fights his way through the hordes of these victims and makes his way back up into the castle. So this I know we read about this when we were doing the playthrough. But I didn't really think about it all that too much when we were doing the playthrough, I think. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I didn't quite know or understand that they were all young women. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe they were just, like, poor souls. But she is, like, very much just going for women. All of the people that worked in the castle and her daughters and every one of those were just human women, pretty much.
I mean, I'm not sure how much I should say.
We're going to talk about her and her succeeded experiments later on, or at least discuss it a little bit.
Yeah, then never mind.
Yeah. Arriving back at the main floor of the castle, Ethan is attacked and caught by Bella. Ethan attempts to shoot her, but his bullets do nothing. Instead, Bella is one of the daughters. I mentioned them above. Bella, Cassandra, and Daniela.
Oh, her name was Bella? I'm sorry. Really? It's just Bella?
Bela. Bella.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I mentioned it up here somewhere.
Yeah, you did. I'm sorry. I thought you said Isabella. But
oh no, it's just Bella.
I just assumed it was Isabella. I think because it's like the other names are so regal, like Daniela and Cassandra and Bella. Like
Bella.
Bella.
Just Bella.
It's so casual. I don't know. So I was
it's Bella
like,
from Twilight.
Who Bella? Gotcha. Sorry.
Bella.
Who Bella?
He attempts to shoot her, but his bullets do nothing. Instead, a stray shot breaks a window, letting in the cold winter air. Bella, horrified by what he has done, becomes vulnerable to Ethan's attacks. He managed to kill the weakened Bella, who calcifies and crumbles to the ground. As Ethan keeps traversing the castle, he finds out that Mother Miranda wants him alive for the upcoming ceremony. However, Lady Dimitrescu, frantic about the death of her daughter, decides that she wants him dead anyways. Ethan fights through her daughters now that he knows their weakness, and finds out that Rose is not even in this castle. As he begins to plan his way out, he finds an old weapon called the Dagger of Death's Flower, which is imbued with poisons from around Europe. He picks up this dagger and is suddenly attacked by Dimitrescu, and he retaliates by stabbing her with it. She screams in horror and pain as she then shows her true mutated form in the shape of a woman riding a dragon.
Yes.
The two battle atop one of the castle's towers until Ethan emerges victorious, and Lady Dimitrescu, mutated body, calcifies and crumbles. As he makes his way down, Ethan finds a yellow flask with rosemary written across it, and he brings it with him as he enters a nearby cave.
Can we just stop and appreciate the model of Lady Dimitrescu's?
Oh, I was just about to say that.
Form. Yeah. It's so cool. It's a dragon, but then it looks like a woman riding a dragon, but the woman is only the top torso.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's melted together with this dragon, and it looks so good.
It's so cool. I would love what is it called? A figurine of that. That would be so cool. I would love that so much.
Yeah.
Just big appreciation to everyone who made the models and everything like that. They're usually so good at it. It's crazy. In this cave, he meets the old woman again, chanting the same prayers as before. Ethan demands she tell him what is going on and where Miranda took Rose. She laughs, telling him that Rose will be sacrificed as a life for a life. He finds a large emblem on one of the cave walls that is eerily similar, if not the exact same, to the Umbrella Corporation logo. He moves on out of the cave and walks upon a large altar with the same umbrella-like emblem in the middle of it. To the side, the Duke sits and calls Ethan to him. He sees that Ethan is carrying something of great importance, and as he sees the flask, he tells Ethan that he is carrying a part of Rose right now. The flask contains a body part of his baby, Rosemary.
Cute.
Duke then tells him to use a newly collected key and save his daughter by collecting Rose's remaining flasks, and that each of them is guarded by the 3 remaining houses that served under Mother Miranda. Ethan is reluctant, however he trusts the Duke enough and places the flask in the nearby altar before he heads out to his next target. So here, we're not going to go into detail about every lord for now.
No,
we're going to leave that to the discussion instead.
Yeah.
As Ethan begins to traverse through the village and the different estates, he encounters Donna Beneviento, Salvatore Moreau, and Carl Heisenberg. All of them holding one of the flasks containing parts of Rosemary. The 3 lords have different powers that they use, but Ethan manages to escape their grasp and gather the flask from the lords, enduring an impossible and seemingly life-threatening amount of wounds. Seemingly life-threatening. As Ethan gathers the 3 remaining flasks, he places them inside the altar and it descends down and opens up to Heisenberg's factory. He gets inside and is greeted by Carl Heisenberg, who tells Ethan that he's being tested to see if he's strong enough to be part of Miranda's family. Ethan angrily exclaims that he doesn't want to be a part of her family, and Carl says neither did I. He also says that Miranda was scared of how potentially dangerous Rose is, and he then offers Ethan to go together and save Rose and use her to kill Miranda. Ethan rejects his offer, saying that his daughter is not a weapon for his usurping scheme. Heisenberg then kicks Ethan down to the bottom of his factory. Ethan once more manages to makes his way through the factory, however ends up in a dead end. Heisenberg once again exclaims that he didn't want to be a part of Miranda's family, but was forced to, and wants to destroy her. But to do so, he needs immense power. Power such as Rose. Ethan keeps denying Heisenberg's cries for help, and throws himself inside a vent. Sus. As he emerges on the other side, he is surprised and subdued by Chris Redfield, who has infiltrated the factory and is in the middle of planting explosives beneath it. Ethan begins to angrily threaten Chris for killing Mia and putting them in this situation. However, Chris tells Ethan that the Mia he shot back in their home was never the real Mia, but in fact, Mother Miranda. Miranda was a kind of bioweapon and had the ability to change her cells and mimic different people, thanks to the mold. Chris explains that Miranda herself is insane and that the monsters and village was her life's work, her experimentation with the mold itself. Ethan sulked, realizing it's just like that of Dulve, Louisiana, and that he can't save his family, nor he can do anything. Chris then tosses him his phone, asking him to look in the pictures. In one of the pictures, Ethan realizes that Miranda has the possession of all 4 flasks, and Chris's men are still monitoring the situation. Ethan wants to save Rose immediately, but Chris tells him that he can't go up against Miranda himself. He advises him to take Heisenberg's self-propelled artillery and meet him topside while he finishes planting explosives. Chris promises Ethan that they will together get his daughter back, and he then lastly asks him to stay under the radar. With this artillery, Ethan finishes Carl Heisenberg once and for all. Also, there was something I wanted to say here.
Mm-hmm.
There was something I was thinking about. Ethan collects all the flasks, right? He put them in this altar to get to Heisenberg's factory. But he doesn't once think that maybe I should leave these flasks.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of... I have some things I want to discuss for sure.
Yeah, just a side note. He leaves them there and then is surprised that Miranda got them.
Yeah.
Anyways, he finishes Carl Heisenberg once and for all. Ethan is then called by Chris, who heard an intense explosion from above. He informs him that he has killed Carl and that he's going to take Rose back from Miranda. Chris tells Ethan not to go without him and tells him to wait.
Ethan is not a team player.
Right now, he's not.
No, he never is, though. Come on.
However, Ethan is momentarily distracted by the sound of Rose's crying. He turns around to see Mia walking
Quote,
towards
unquote.
him and says that Rose is important to her and chastises him for never knowing that she had taken Mia's place. Mia is then warped to Miranda, and she begins to tell him about Eveline's power over the mold, and that Rose is her successor, her true complete form, and that she will grow up to control the masses, and that she must have her. Miranda says that the mold catalogs all of them, and Rose will be reborn as her daughter, Eva. Miranda then begins to shift through several forms, including that of the old lady. Ethan angrily tells her to come out and face him, only for his heart to be ripped out by Miranda.
Yep.
Meanwhile, in another side of the city, Chris receives a photo in his phone from one of his squad members. A photo of Ethan lying motionless in a pool of his own blood, face down on the ground. He is pronounced dead, and Chris decides to avenge him and puts the blame on himself for not telling Ethan about the situation sooner. He and his squad members, the Wolf Squad, begin to make their way towards Miranda's ritual site, with their minds on saving and retrieving Rosemary and to end this mold once and for all. They split up, and Chris ends up in a dungeon below the village. Here he finds the center of the mold, shaped like that of a fetus, and plants explosives into it. Further into the cave, he finds Miranda's laboratory, and all the tests, experiments, and projects she has made over her many years being alive. So we're gonna go over Miranda.
Yeah.
A little bit quick here, because she's someone.
She is.
She is someone. Yep. So Miranda was an Eastern European biologist and cult leader who ruled over an isolated mountain village from 1919 to 2021. After losing her only daughter to the Spanish flu, she discovered and became infected by the mold within a nearby cave. Gaining vast knowledge and superhuman powers from the infection. Yeah?
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
What? You said she was a cult leader from 1919 to 2021.
Yeah.
But she wasn't born then.
No. She was... No. I didn't really get a born date. Okay. However, 1919 was the time that her daughter died.
Yeah, I got that. Because that's what I was kind of reacting to. Because... Because she must have become a cult leader around the same time as the Spanish flu, and that was in the kind of 20s almost. Yeah.
Gaining vast knowledge and superhuman powers from the infection, she pioneered research on this mysterious fungus and used it to conduct experiments on local villagers over the next century, hoping to find the perfect vessel to revive her daughter. In the early 1950s, Miranda employed at least one research assistant after rescuing British medical student Oswell E. Spencer when he got lost on a hiking exercise. Although Spencer was deeply inspired by Miranda, he soon departed due to a conflict of interest and ideology. Namely, Miranda sought only to revive her lost daughter, whereas Spencer wanted to bring about the next stage in human evolution. Yeah. Despite this, Spencer still kept in touch with his friend and mentor and continued to hold her in high regard. So, Oswell E. Spencer is a very interesting name. If you all remember, he is also the founder of Umbrella Corporation. Yep. So, you could say, we can say that he did get the emblem that we see in these caves is actually from this village that he got inspired by and took it for his own.
And now we also know kind of maybe how or why it looks so old, because she has ruled over this village for such a long time too that kind of she has had control of what to put there, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so it's very interesting, I think, that it ties together so well, that we've gotten to know Umbrella Corporation from like the first mention of Resident Evil, and now we're kind of like, in this new game we meet Spencer's mentor, and if their ideologies wouldn't have been different, maybe Miranda would have been a part of the creation of Umbrella or whatever. So that's really interesting.
So I also want to say that all of this information that we are talking about now about Miranda is actually information that Chris finds in this laboratory in notes and books.
Yeah.
In 2000, Miranda was approached by the crime syndicate, The Connections, who had been made aware of her research and wished to collaborate with her. Miranda provided them with a sample of the mold and an embryonic clone of Eva. The Connections were working on a human bioweapon project that could brainwash enemy combatants and believed the mold could assist in this process. With the embryo, they were able to produce a number of prototypes. With Miranda herself overseeing the development of Evelyn, their first of their E-type, created at some point before 2014, Miranda met Evelyn in person along with her assigned handlers, Mia Winters and Alan Droney. When the Connections facility housing Evelyn was discovered during a BSAA investigation in 2014, Evelyn was transported across the ocean on a tanker, which then crashed off the coast of Louisiana, resulting in the Dolby incident.
Yeah.
So here we also find out that Miranda is actually a part of the Connections.
It's also very interesting that Mia and Miranda has met before all of this. Like, I mean, I know this is all connected, but you're kind of like, oh, Miranda is this entity we've never heard of or anything, but she and Mia actually met before the Baker incident ever happened. That's very interesting.
That's so strange, because also in this laboratory, Chris finds pictures of Miranda, where she doesn't wear these blackened robes and the golden headpiece.
She looks like a person.
She looks like a researcher. She got this white lab coat jacket, and then she poses with Mia and Alan and Oswell and people in photographs, and she's just a normal person that she's been living for a very long time because of this mold that she found. But it's just so interesting to see that she can be so two different people. I don't know. Definitely. It's very interesting.
Definitely.
In this lab, as Chris walks around, he finds a cell. He cautiously, walks closer and opens it up, discovering an alive and real Mia. She explains that she was abducted by Miranda and kept in this cell for experiments, as Miranda was pretending to be Mia back home. Chris explained to Mia that Ethan was dead. However, Mia did not believe it. She shook her head and told him, no, he can't die. He's special. Ethan suddenly wakes up.
Yep.
Appearing to be in some sort of limbo. A young girl's voice can be heard in the distance, and Evelyn emerges from the mist. Evelyn mockingly asks him if he had ever questioned why, despite all the fatal injuries he had suffered, both at the Baker residence and in the village, he had always completely recovered. Evelyn explains that back at the Baker guest house, after he had defeated the molded Mia for the last time, and Jack Baker knocked him unconscious, the head stomp had actually killed him. However, the mold in the Baker residence had managed to revive him and mutated him as well, thus giving him the same inhuman, regenerative abilities that Mia and the Bakers had. Ethan, through despair and confusion, resolves to save Rose, even if it's the last thing he'll do. When we played through this, it was like a light bulb moment for everyone.
Yeah.
It was,
I have so many questions about this.
So many questions. I have questions too. Even though I've been reading about this a lot, still questions.
But I just have I need to connect some dots, I feel.
Yeah. I think we'll have a good discussion after this.
Yeah, for sure.
Ethan suddenly wakes up from his limbo in the Duke's carriage to find Rose and end Miranda once and for all. The Duke takes Ethan to the village, where he finds the ritual site with Miranda holding Rose. Ethan confronts Miranda, much to her surprise, and he demands she give back Rose, with Miranda threatening him only for one of the squad members to intervene and shoot her in the head, giving Ethan an opportunity to take back Rose. Miranda, however, grabs hold of Rose again before the mold spreads around the area, mutating her further and closing the two in. After a long battle, Ethan strikes a killing blow to Miranda, causing her to yell her long-lost daughter's name before calcifying as the barrier around them starts to dissipate as well. Ethan takes his daughter back, only to fall onto his knees in weakness after his right hand calcifies. Chris, in the meanwhile, had been fighting through the growing chaotic village, along with his squad and the BSAA. After some time, he finds a frail Ethan, assisting them to their safety. Chris informs Ethan of the bomb that will obliterate the entire village, and how Mia is actually alive, waiting for him. Ethan explained that this is the last thing he'll do, and that it's too late for him. He hands over Rose to Chris, along with his jacket, and a sudden wall of mold closes the two off from each other. Chris shouts towards Ethan. Stop. Stop, don't.
I see the tears forming.
Oh, stop it. Okay, pause.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry for laughing. I know you were trying to hold it together, but oh my god, I started laughing because I just see how your voice is like. I hear it starting to like shiver, and I see how the tears are like forming. Because I just when Sassy. Oh gosh, I'm so damaged from from streaming. But when Hilda played this on stream,
I'll call you Raven IRL. By the way, it's fine.
Oh yeah, yeah. She was bawling her eyes out. Like, I haven't seen her sob like that in a long time. Yeah.
I was crying so hard.
I knew you were gonna have difficulties with this part. I knew you were gonna have difficulty reading this, but
actually,
I'm sorry
do you
for
want
laughing.
to read it? Because I'm not sure I will be able to make it now.
Oh yeah, sure, I can read it.
I'm just gonna send it to you.
Ethan explains that this is the last thing he'll do, and that it is too late for him. He hands over Rose to Chris, along with his jacket, and a sudden wall of mold closes the two off from each other. Chris shouts towards Ethan, who turns around and stumbles back towards the mutated and molded remains. Chris decides to quickly head back to the helicopter where Mia and his squad is, and he hands over Rose to her before shutting the doors and taking off. Mia begins to panic, asking where her husband is, and soon a large explosion can be heard and seen. Mia quickly realizes and begins to sob while holding Rose close to her as they fly off to safety.
I would not have made that.
No.
I would not have made that. I was so close. Damn it. I was holding it together this whole time.
Oh god, but I know.
I don't cry that often, but good stories. God, I get so immersed.
I cry a shit ton, but the thing is, it's different too because I didn't personally play Biohazard and Village, and I never got that true immersion as someone who played because I was like, watching you do it. Yeah. So it was more in that sense. I was sad when Ethan died, but I also kind of saw it coming. I don't know. Yeah,
we did see it coming, especially when we saw how damaged he got after the limbo, and when he realized all of the things.
Tearing your heart out, it's kind of like a...
Yeah.
It doesn't get better than that,
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a mood.
It's totally a mood. So, that is how the game ends. Yeah. One thing I didn't write down as they fly off they also carries one of the BSAA members, like a dead soldier, on this yes. on this helicopter, because what is not really mentioned in 8 is that Chris and his wolf squad is not a part of BSAA anymore.
Yeah.
They are like two different companies or parts, kind of thing. But I
think we mentioned this a little bit last time.
Yeah, they collaborate a lot because Chris got very tired of how the BSAA handled things, and it got weird. So he gathered his favorite people and just got them in their own little group. So this is also the first game that, because I think he have his wolf squad in the BSAA before earlier. Because they mentioned that it's very special because in Resident Evil 8 it's the first time you get names or like code names of his squad members. So they all have names like Wolf, Canine.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Dog names. Gotcha. Barney. Fluffy.
Fluffy.
But anyway, they get one of these BSAA dead soldiers and they realize that he is actually mutated human. He is a bioweapon. And Chris gets very mad, extremely angry, and he decides that they are actually flying towards the European center of BSAA. So that is actually where they're going in the end of the movie. I'm not sure if they're gonna like drop off her somewhere or her and Mia, what they're gonna do with her.
Did we get to see that in the end? Because I have no recollection of that happening.
We got to see their conversation of it, but we don't get to see them flying there. But they are like, that's a bioweapon. That's weird because BSAA is against bioweapons. Why are they using bioweapons? And Chris is like, we're going there. We're gonna yell at them real bad, and then game ends pretty much.
Right.
So that is a thing that is good to note because I think that either a DLC will happen from that.
Oh no. Okay, yes. I'm so sorry. Yes, now I understand. It wasn't someone from the clan. It was someone from BSAA is what you were saying.
A BSAA soldier. Yeah.
Exactly. You're correct. Yes, cuz now I remember this happening where they were like jumping out and like running towards the mold, and they were like, what are they doing? They're gonna die and stuff.
Yeah, they're like,
and then they kind of realized that those people weren't just regular people, they were bioweapons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they realized that they were acting strangely and they weren't acting cautiously at all. They were just running straight into danger, and a bunch of them got killed, and it was just very weird. Not human behavior very much. And so they got one of these bodies on the helicopter and saw when they took off the helmet that this is actually a bioweapon. BSAA, what the hell? What are you doing?
Yeah. Now I remember.
So either maybe a DLC where we'll see this, or this will be a part of Resident Evil 9.
Interesting.
Who knows? Who knows? Also, what I didn't mention is the after the credits, you get to see a small clip of cinematic.
An epilogue, pretty much,
of a grown-up Rosemary who is visiting her dad's grave, which she seems to be doing a lot. And she's so cool. I love her.
And she's wearing his jacket.
And it's just so wholesome and nice. And then she's also getting picked up at this black van that is like the BSAA or the Wolf Squad-ish. We don't know. It's some agents of some sort. Who works with Chris, at least, because they mention him. And then they pick her up and be like, you're not supposed to leave, you know that, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of get the feeling that she is very powerful because they're kind of scared of her.
Yeah, the agent that picks her up is kind of cautious with her. Like,
And it's so weird because the first thing he says to her is like he jokes about something very stupid, like it's not even funny, and she gets a little bit angry, so she pushes him up against the car, and he's like, oh shit, why did you react like that? You were joking about when her dad was dead and it's his birthday. Shut up.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all we get to see. We get to see them driving off, and then stopping the car and a person standing next to the car. And then it stops. And that's very ominous.
It feels very much like an epilogue to the Resident Evil 8 game, but it also feels a little bit like a teaser or a prelogue to the Resident Evil 9.
Very much so.
Like a little bit of a hint teaser. Yeah. Like, oh, Rosemary, she's with this agent, like, and then this person approaches. What's gonna happen next?
Yeah,
like,
why
very
did the
much...
car stop? What's that? Like, it's... Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. Ugh. It's gonna be interesting to see what DLCs they release and stuff too. That's gonna be really fun. I think it's a very fun concept where they release the main game and then wait a bit to release the DLCs to give people a chance to kind of absorb what has happened, but also not burn out of the game or like still keep it alive a little bit. So that's going to be really interesting to see what DLCs they release too.
Yeah, they released I think, let me see, 3 or 4 DLCs for 7. I think 4.
Yeah.
And one of them being like a 2-parter minigame-ish. It's still lore packed, but it's a little bit shorter and it's a little bit more fun.
It's
relaxing.
Very focused on the game.
It's not relaxing at all.
It's not relaxing.
But it's like a little bit more of a
Playing
fun of a game.
Playing blackjack with the prize being you being electrocuted is not relaxing.
It was not relaxing. So yeah, I would really like to see a DLC where you get to play as the villagers in the village when Miranda
like
starts.
Before?
Yeah. Like when,
Yeah, but like being a villager before it goes down, and then maybe experience what happens when everything starts going down, like seeing the first wolf and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Because we didn't go into the other lords and ladies.
No, yeah.
That much. I'm thinking we're just gonna go over them a little bit because even though there is, of course, a backstory, there is stuff like that, it's not really... Like, I really just want to talk about what's interesting about every one of them
I get it.
Instead.
So how do you want to do this? Because I have a bunch of questions. Do you have info you want to go through and then I can ask questions at the end, or should I ask questions now?
I think we should just go with questions, and then if I feel like we didn't talk about something, I can talk about that later instead. So what are your questions? Ask away.
I have a bunch.
Let's see if I can answer them.
First of all, I think it would be kind of fun to raise the question that we started asking yesterday. So we were watching my husband's stream and we were talking a little bit in chat about how can Ethan never really have questioned his abilities before this. Like, falling from certain heights or stuff, that could be adrenaline or luck possible. Or whatever. Yeah. But
and also good to note is that in between 7 and the beginning of 8, Ethan has gotten military training. So that could include him to be more agile, I guess.
Military training does not allow you to reattach a hand.
Let's talk about the hand, okay?
I'm very much like how so Ethan, his hand gets severed, right?
Yeah.
And he picks his hand up and he places it back on the arm and pours fucking chem fluid or whatever the fuck it is on it. And just attaches it like it's no big deal. Like he does it like he puts on like he dropped his glove and he just places it back on. Like that's what he does.
Yeah, his just reaction is I should put this back on.
Yeah, and it's not like I would have had I can understand the instinct in a way, I suppose, but unless you're a gecko, that's not really like a natural instinct for you to be like, hey, I can fix this limb,
Yeah, let me just do this while I'm in the elevator.
Yeah, and I'm like, we didn't even get a kind of like, what the hell? This worked? Like, any sort of reaction. He was like, hands back on, let's go, you know? Like, I'm so bothered by that.
Yeah, he didn't even say, like, I wonder what would happen if I, or he didn't bring any kind of, like, thought process
dialogue or anything. No, nothing.
No.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, since there isn't really an explanation about that specifically, however, they give kind of hints, especially when I was reading the first, like, introduction. He does write a lot in his like when you walk around in the house when you start playing the game, you can read notes and you can read emails that he has been writing down kind of a little bit of what he feels. So in the introduction, he kind of mentions that he feels like a part of him is back at Louisiana.
Yeah.
And that could be a way of him feeling like he never left. There's something there still that is a part of me, or
but that could also be like just trauma or PTSD.
Well, obviously, I think most people, like, including him, would count that as trauma and PTSD, which would be kind of normal of him to have after a moment like that. But I also feel like that could be a hint towards
for sure,
that he lost his life there. And
I think that is what they are hinting towards.
So it's him knowing, but he doesn't quite put the pieces together himself. But I think somewhere deep inside, he would know. But
what confuses me too is Mia calls him special, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "You're special, Ethan." Like, what else does she say? She's like, "You don't understand that you're special." Or
yeah, in the
whatever.
beginning of the game, she says
I don't know why I'm doing my Bailey Sarian voice or whatever.
You don't understand why you're special.
But it bothers me that, okay, so she calls him special.
Yeah.
Does that mean that she knows that he is whatever the fuck he is?
She knows.
Why is she not telling him that? Why is she not letting him in on that? Like, where... I feel like it's more dangerous to not tell him.
Yeah, I think this is a thing that Chris made the mistake of doing as well. He did not tell Ethan that Mia actually wasn't Mia, because I also looked that up. I thought that was interesting. When actually Miranda took Mia's place in the beginning, it was only a week or two.
Oh.
So that was quite fresh.
Why
but they already
does
had
Ethan not know that he is a freaking whatever the fuck?
Well,
I don't understand the logic.
Because I do absolutely think that Mia knows, and she's also still affected by...
I don't think that she calls him special because she's like, you're my husband, you're my special
boy.
Yeah.
No, but I think this has something either to do with the connections or the BSAA and Chris, that they don't want to drag him into it even further. They're constantly, even in 7, and especially in 8, they're constantly trying to keep information away from Ethan a lot. And I'm not sure. It might just be that it feels very Resident Evil of them to be like, oh, let's protect him by not saying anything. And then they're like, oh shit, we should have said something.
Maybe it's something like they are scared that they don't know how the mold is mutating. So they're scared that the someone who controls the mold is going to be able to like control Ethan in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that too.
It just doesn't make sense to me otherwise, because it would be better to be like, hey, Ethan, this is the situation. I understand that he would fucking panic if he knew that, but I also feel like that would have saved them a lot of time and grief
definitely.
And issues and shit like that. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, definitely. It
bothers me.
It would make the game a whole lot shorter.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It would make the game a whole lot shorter. But yeah, I get that confusion. And I don't know, maybe we'll actually get a DLC where we play as Mia finding that out.
Oh, that could be interesting.
Because when we played through the second boss fight in Resident Evil Village, that is Donna Beneviento, you are doing this kind of escape room-ish thing.
Escape room.
It's the most horrifying thing I've ever
That
played
shit
through.
was fucked.
I can't wait to see our friend Yaya play that part of Resident
yeah.
8.
Oh yeah. No, she's gonna hate it.
Yeah, she's gonna absolutely hate it. And I think that's this is the
Also,
scariest thing I've ever played.
Sorry, a friendly shout out.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Twitch.tv/Lady Yaya _ right?
Yes, it's on. Yeah.
So it's LadyYaya _.
Yes.
She's a great friend of ours.
And she's also
Twitch,
right now
and
playing
she's amazing.
Resident Evil 7, and then gonna follow up with 8. So that is great if you want to go and check out.
And she is not a horror lover like yours truly, so it's even more fun to watch.
Yeah, it's even more. She's actually screaming.
Yes. And she's got a potty mouth, just like me, and I love it.
love it.
Oh my gosh. I love she was like, sorry, I love when she was like, you exorcist fucking goblin looking shit, like, to Mia. It was so funny.
But it was so accurate though.
It was so funny. Accurate. I had to clip it. Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, in this escape room-ish that you have with the Donna Beneviento, you get, for every puzzle piece that you do correctly, you get this radio message where Mia is saying, at first listening to this makes you feel like, oh, that's just to make me feel uncomfortable, because she sounds very uncomfortable. Like the first message is a nice one, actually. It's just her finding out that they're gonna have a baby, and she's very excited, and then it takes many notches down, turns very dark, and but there are a message that I've been thinking about, and I didn't find anyone really explaining exactly what she's talking about, because she says something along the lines of, I can't tell him, I can't believe this is happening, I can't tell him. There's something she's holding back. And in the beginning of the game, there's also this flashback of them talking about them being scared that Rosemary might be infected in some way still of the mold, since both of them were infected. So they're running tests with the doctors and stuff like that. So at first I was like, okay, that's about that. But now that we kind of find out that she knows all this time, maybe she's talking about him. She's being like, I can't tell him, shit. He's dead.
Maybe the situation is that Chris and those peeps, they knew about Ethan, and then they told Mia about it because they needed her to maybe also keep an eye out.
Yeah, she's a researcher after all, and she's
exactly
know about this mold very
But maybe they were like, we're gonna tell you this because we need you to keep an eye on him and to keep you and Rosemary and all like safe.
Yeah.
But also you can't tell him because maybe that would also create such a disturbance in Ethan. I mean, if you found out that you were a living corpse, you would freak the fuck out.
Yeah, and what you don't know what the mold inside of him would do to
how
that.
They would react. Exactly. So maybe it's like, to keep you and Ethan and the family safe, you can't tell Ethan about this, but we need you to know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a something she isn't telling him because the clan or the BSAA told her not to tell, I suppose.
Yeah, it would feel quite logical since she has been lying to him before. About the connections and all that. Sure. So I feel like
it's second nature to her now.
It's kind of second nature, and as well as they really wanted to just have this normal family. They just wanted to be normal. Yeah. They just wanted to leave all of this behind. Hence,
maybe it was kind of maybe it's kind of one of those things too that Ethan had such a turbulent mind already because he was talking about what happened in Louisiana and stuff. They didn't want to further that because
they didn't want to add the little side note that, oh yeah, you're dead, by the way.
Yeah,
you died.
Exactly.
Like the first thing that happened with Jack was he died.
Yeah, because maybe that's one thing too that they know he's dead, and this it's not gonna last forever, maybe,
Yeah.
because he's probably gonna die when they kill the mold or whatever. And maybe they were like, we just want him to be happy when he can be happy,
Yeah.
like have a life with
Yeah.
Rose and Mia and stuff. Maybe. I suppose that's what it is, but it's still weird to me that he hasn't questioned it more himself.
Yeah, especially with the hand. That he wasn't like,
hand,
that's
I'm never,
not supposed
yeah.
to work like that.
I'm never gonna get over that.
But I'm also thinking that since he is like 100% mold,
Yeah.
wouldn't the mold be a part of his reactions? Like that would be,
Yeah,
since
that's
he
true.
was like, he would be like, oh shit, and he would just do it and put it back
He
on.
probably has lost enough of his humanity too, where he wouldn't really instinctively
Question those
maybe
things.
have certain reactions.
No.
or have a like question things.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that makes sense too, I guess. But I would have loved us to not have to maybe speculate about that and maybe get more of an explanation. Like maybe
Yeah.
just like the mold is you're so much mold now that you won't really reflect upon things that happen to you, and then we
Yeah.
would have been like, oh, that makes sense, thank you.
Yeah. And I think also if they would have added like a comment when he put his hand back, people would have questioned, like,
Yeah.
because you don't really question if he's alive or not ever until they tell you that he's dead. Even though like we had a suspicion, of course, that he is still infected in a way, but not that he was dead, or at least not me. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe since he was with the bakers, of course, he must have been infected.
Yeah.
So that would explain like maybe that he can endure more things, but I never would have guessed that he actually was dead from the start. And also, when I'm questioning like why he died, this like the second time when he calcifies in the end of 8. Because I'm thinking, first, when we played through the game, I was like, okay, it's because we killed the mother mold or whatever. That's it. But he started calcifying before the explosion went off. And
I'm thinking maybe he started calcifying because the mother mold was dying.
Yeah.
Like, because they attacked Mother Miranda and they were like doing all this shit, and the explosion was like the final blow, but the mold was still really injured and stuff, and started maybe like not being able to withhold its branches, so to speak, which would be
it was getting a little
I'm guessing.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I was thinking that maybe the removal of his heart was like the last drop, because I mean, when we are fighting Jack, for example, in the 7, you fight him like 5 times, but in the end you actually kill him, because it's like the last draw, like the last shot. And I was thinking now when I was reading like a few things, I was like, maybe it was just the last drop. Maybe the removal of his heart was enough.
Maybe it comes to a point where the host, like, or the body, the vessel, becomes so inhabitable that it's not you're not really it's not able to sustain it to a certain point when it becomes so bad. I don't know.
Badly damaged in a way.
Yeah.
I'm thinking something like that, but I don't know. I hope we really get more answers about all of that in a DLC of some sort.
For sure.
Or like a comic.
I think those those were the questions I had about Ethan and the Mia specific, like the dynamic there. But I think this is kind of on a lot of people's minds, and I don't know if you found any info about this, but I need more information about the Duke.
I wanted to talk about him!
Yeah, for sure. Like, I need to know, who is he? How does he work? Like, why is he everywhere? Like, his...
Okay.
When you enter Castle Dimitrescu, there's a letter that is like, oh, I had like a meeting about business with the Duke. And I'm like, okay, so the Duke had like a fucking business meeting with Lady Dimitrescu. Like, I have questions about that for sure.
So the Duke was the last person I was looking up. And because I had the same question as you, like, who is this guy? Because I had read and saw a few like theories online, and the theories was pretty much that he does not exist. He is just an imagination of, or in some kind of mutation of the mold inside of Ethan that makes him help him along the way. That is just made up. He doesn't really exist. But then also, like, how would that explain the notes? But I don't know if that would be a part of the mold showing Ethan things as well. I don't know. But that was a theory, which made me think, like, actually, who is this guy? We don't get like anything on him.
Yeah.
And sadly to say, there's not really a lot on him either. Except for maybe he is real. He is real, a real guy. And he has been living for a very long time. How? We don't have an explanation, but we do. There is notes that I don't think I found when I played through the game, but there are like secret notes of him, like of diary notes from the villagers that he sold things to them, and he was like having business with everyone. He had business with everyone, including Dimitrescu and Beneviento, Moreau,
So I have a theory then.
Yeah?
I have a theory then. How about the Duke is kind of like Lady Dimitrescu, and you know he's a creation of Mother Miranda. Like
that was
Mother
what
Miranda
I was
made
thinking
him,
too.
and maybe his, because you know there's a village, but then there's also the different mansions with the lords and ladies and stuff. But maybe Mother Miranda was like, I need someone to sustain the village when I'm not here. And maybe the Duke was kind of like, he was selling wares and stuff to make sure that the villagers were content and staying alive and stuff like that. And maybe it was his job to kind of keep the village under control. And he's more of a neutral part in this whole thing, because he does have business affairs with Lady Dimitrescu and stuff, but he's not like fighting or anything. So maybe it was more of, you know, his.
It was definitely neutral.
Yeah, because I'm thinking maybe, you know, the other people, like Heisenberg, he has like the magnetic powers, and Lady Dimitrescu, she revives herself by drinking blood and stuff and whatever. Maybe his power in that case would be like he conjures things. Like he conjures food for the villagers. He made sails. He conjures weapons for Ethan.
Yeah.
And he's a conjurer, but also in that sense a merchant, because he sells these things. So that's kind of my theory then.
That was kind of what I was thinking too. That he also was part of the Cadu project in a way. However, we don't have any information about that. Yeah. Because I was thinking that maybe I missed a book in the laboratory, because in the laboratory there are books. There is a book on Alcina Dimitrescu, on Heisenberg, on Beneviento, on Moreau, about how they came to be in like the Cadu project, how they became, and that they weren't a good vessel for her daughter. So I was thinking that maybe the Duke is in here as well, but I just missed it. But I can't find anything about that.
That's true.
But still, that is quite what I was thinking. However, while he is a very neutral party, he was kind of against Mother Miranda, because
But so is Heisenberg.
Yeah. Heisenberg is very against Mother Miranda. But the Duke was very much for the people, because there is a note where a villager wanted to buy newspaper, but they weren't allowed to have newspaper because they were a cult at this point with their deity Mother Miranda, and she didn't want them to read about the outside world and stuff like that. So he sold newspaper. He got newspaper and sold them to this guy because he wanted it, and he was like more of a people person, like the villager person, which I thought was kind of neat. I kind of like him even more now.
But maybe the Duke was never a part of the Cadu project, but he was more of a side project, like before Miranda started experimenting on vessels for Eva. Maybe she was more like, I have this cult and stuff, and I need to sustain this village. And maybe he was like an early experimentation of that kind before the project properly started. I don't know, because he's like an older or kind of wise entity. Yeah. And I definitely feel like he knows
so many things also.
Yeah, also look at him. He's not like a normal human. He's really, really large in this small carriage. He has a very...
And he moves very fast for being that large.
He basically teleports because it's not... I mean, you're outside of this castle, and then you head into the castle, and he's in there with his carriage.
How did he even get into the room?
Castle. Yeah. How did he get here? So I feel like it's almost like a teleportation vibe thing, or
something.
Almost. I was gonna make this. Comparison, but he has a bit of a almost Cheshire Cat vibe.
Oh yeah, he definitely does. Actually.
Yeah, because he's like almost
he's just
like
there giving advice.
Larger and smaller, and he can teleport everywhere and whatnot. Yeah. So
I think that is also kind of why people thought that maybe he doesn't really exist. That there's something going on. Maybe it's a projection of the mother mold in some kind of way, or a projection of the mold inside of Ethan. I do really believe he's real because
me too.
Because I found something kind of fun, since we talked about Greepos playing through Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
There's an Easter egg with Duke. And that is, let's see, I took a picture of this because I wanted the line. Because during a transaction, there is a chance that the Duke will say, "What are you buying?" in a very, very special way. Which he then states, "It's just something an old friend of mine used to say." And he's referencing the merchant
"What are you buying?"
in Resident Evil 4, which I thought was really fun. But that also gives me like, okay, so he is definitely real, and he has been living for a long time. Or at least he's been friends or knows the merchant from Resident Evil 4. Because he says it's an old friend of him.
Or...
it's him.
It is him.
It's him.
Because maybe he is this separate, odd entity. Maybe he was created from the mold or experiment or some sort of thing. Not from Mother Miranda, but like Resident Evil 1, like for a long time. And maybe like every merchant is almost like a regeneration. You know, like you know how Doctor Who works, right?
Yeah.
So he's one person. And then even though he has the same memories and the same goal and he's the same person, he also, when he regenerates, because he dies, he regenerates and he becomes this new person with new like tastes, looks, personality, but he's still the same but not the same. Yeah. Maybe that's kind of the same thing. Maybe. It's not an old friend. It's actually him. He says it's an old friend because it's an older version of himself.
That is I like that theory a lot, actually. I really like it. Yeah. Because
I know, my husband, like I said, he has the mods and stuff, and he does have a mod for the Duke where he is dressed as the merchant from Resident Evil 4.
Oh, shit! That must be because of the Easter egg thing.
The line. Oh, for sure.
Because otherwise, I'm sorry, but there is really not much on the backstory of him.
Because I'm with you. I'm completely with you there, that I definitely think the Duke exists as much as everything else does. Yeah. There, because he has business with Lady Dimitrescu. He has we find like documents and stuff of him having contacts with the village. Yeah. And why would some documents be our hallucinations but not other documents?
And also there was I just realized now that I read through it a little bit more that he knows a whole lot, and that doesn't just mean that he knows about Rose. He knows about like the mold. He knows about Mother Miranda. He actually, when Ethan wakes up, the Duke has rescued him. He picked him up and put him in his carriage. And he tells Ethan, let me get the lines up actually, I think. he tells Ethan, if I can find them, that is. He tells Ethan something along the lines that, you're dying, right? So he knows what Ethan are. He knows of that already.
Yeah.
And maybe he knew that from the start as well.
Yeah.
Probably. And Ethan is like, I really need to go and do this, even if the last thing I'll do. And the Duke is like, I'll know exactly where they are. I'll bring you there, but you know that this will be the last thing you do.
Okay, so maybe I have kind of a spin-off theory here.
A spin-off!
I am into the idea of the Duke being something separate. Maybe he's not really... Maybe he is related to the mold, or maybe not. But I'm thinking maybe he's not a creation of Mother Miranda after all. Because I feel like she can't really control the Duke. Because if she could, she would make the Duke not sell weapons to Ethan. She would make him, like, not sell the newspapers to the villager. Whatever, all that stuff. And maybe the Duke is a separate entity, almost all in himself. And he's, like, something unknown or something that Mother Miranda kind of can't touch, which is also why he's kind of allowed to do his thing, because she can't really do anything about it. Yeah. Because I feel like Mother Miranda has such a grasp on Heisenberg and Moreau and stuff like that. And so why wouldn't she have that grasp on the Duke, for example? Yeah. So I feel like maybe the Duke could be related to the mold, or he could be something along those lines, but I feel like he's separate to Mother Miranda in a way where she can't really affect him. I feel like maybe that's something, because if we are going with the theory that he is friends with or the same person as the merchant in Resident Evil 4, for example, I feel like maybe they are kind of sort of a separate entity vibe or whatever. But also they're fighting on our side. Yeah.
They are very neutral in a way, but also very much towards our side.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah. I found what happens after when he picks up Ethan. After Ethan's heart is ripped out by Mother Miranda, the Duke rescues him and places him in the back of his carriage while he recuperates, having been drawn to the location by watching his battle with Heisenberg. Knowing Ethan would need to finish the job, the Duke brings him to Miranda's location. The Duke questions him on whether he should go through it, considering that Ethan's body is dying. But when Ethan replies in the affirmative, he says it was foolish of him to ask. Ethan then asks him of his true nature, to which he replies, "Even I can't quite answer that." Upon arriving at Miranda's side, the Duke cautions that Ethan cannot return to his old life anymore due to his condition, but Ethan assures that he is ready.
Yeah. So I think he might be a separate entity almost altogether, or
and that would
some sort of mutation from the mold, but that is kind of like hard to explain.
Yeah, because the mold existed long before Mother Miranda. I know we only touched it on when we were talking about Miranda earlier on, but really when her daughter died, the Spanish flu, very horrible sickness. A lot of people died, and so many people died that they didn't have space to bury them in real graves and graveyards. Graveyards? Yeah, that's right. So they kind of buried them outside of the village, and Miranda was so heartbroken that her 10-year-old daughter was dead, of course, that she decided to take her own life, and she decided to stop eating, stop drinking, and she wandered into this cave where she found this black mass that she touched, which was this fungus that she calls the fungus root, but we are calling it the mutamycete or the mold. And here she found, when she touched it, she was reliving people's memories, like from so long ago, as well as her daughters. Hence why she knew she could revive her, because she knew she was still there. She just needed a new vessel, pretty much. That's why she decided to continue on doing that. And since the mold is so old, it wouldn't be weird if it had touched someone else.
Others, yeah.
Before her. Or
sure.
at least somehow reacted. People would have reacted with the mold. So I don't know. Even he can't answer his true identity.
That's interesting. I like that.
He is really interesting. He's a really good character.
Yeah.
I love the Duke.
He's
great.
He's the king.
Yeah. Is there any other questions you would like to ask?
I feel like I have a bunch of questions all the time, but I think my main ones were Ethan and Mia's kind of reaction and relationship and that stuff. And I feel like the Duke was something that was really on my mind too.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I had a lot of other questions. I might come up with something else, but not right now.
Might I ask you if you have a favorite lord or lady?
A favorite one?
Yeah. Because I do.
You do?
Yeah.
I mean, gosh. I'm kind of drawn towards Donna in a way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Donna is very interesting.
She is.
And she is definitely that classic, mysterious, still apathetic, I think, character that is kind of like the most chaotic and dark.
Yeah.
And I think it's very interesting. And I mean, her mansion or her residence was definitely the scariest, creepiest part.
Yeah, it was horrible.
And I think that is, there's a lot of credit to that, and also I like that we found out, those like film clips and stuff with Ethan and Mia there, and I don't know, I'm kind of drawn towards Donna, but also, I mean, I have a crush on Lady Dimitrescu and all her daughters.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like everyone does.
It's okay to love those.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
I feel like everyone does. Yeah.
But they are very interesting as well.
I hated Moreau because I don't like water.
Oh yeah, true.
It was a rough ride.
There must always be a water level.
Yeah, for sure. That was just a very classic water level.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's very sad about him because, well, my favorite is also Donna. So we're going to talk about her a little bit. Just a little bit, because there's not much there either really yet. But Moreau, while we just mentioned him, he is, I think, one of the saddest stories.
Oh, he's sad as fuck.
Since he was a big failure. Like, even in Miranda's books where she wrote about him, she's like, this is the biggest failure I've ever made. Like, this is wow, I hate this creation.
If I could off him, I would.
Yeah.
Like, she's very much like that. And it's really sad because he's desperate for her approval.
Yeah, he's
desperate. He
has
such mommy issues, for sure.
He always, and even like when we are playing the level and we grab the flask and we stand there and talk to him a little bit, he doesn't even feel aggressive. Like, he talks and he's like just being very, very sad, and he's just describing please no, leave it here, she would be so mad at me. I can't do anything right. He's so sad. And
he's pathetic.
He's pathetic. And he can't control his mutation like the other one can. So he doesn't really have a power. He just have a curse. It's really, really sad. Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen Moreau, he's basically a big toad fish person. He's so nasty.
He is one of the... he's the only one, I think, that the Cadeau or the fungus just went crazy. He couldn't control it, and it...
Like, look-wise, you mean?
Yeah, because it started mutating his physique, and he couldn't control it, while the others could, and they could hide their true form well, he can't, and that's really sad. He's just a really sad character.
He kind of looks like a mix between a toad and is he called Gallowix or Gallowix? You know the goblin leader of in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I think this Gallowix, right?
Yeah, doesn't he look like a combo between Gallowix and a toad?
Yeah, he does.
He has the same hunch and like
that toad face.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, he does. That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, because like Mother Miranda, for example, her true form is like a fucking dragon, mutated. Like her legs are pretty much a fucking dragon, you know. But she can like turn into this like hot ass vampire woman. But yeah, like Moreau, he's like a toad person.
Yeah. I think
all the time.
I think out of all of them, because all of them were just experiments to become vessels for Eva. Carl Heisenberg was the closest one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Since he could control everything and he was fine. Yeah. Pretty much. There was nothing else. Alcina had this sickness that she had to drink blood, so she had this weakness of that.
Yeah, exactly.
And Maru was a big failure. And Donna was very interesting because the backstory of Donna, I don't know how much we figured out in the game. I'm getting so confused on where I find the information now.
Yeah, I get it. But you know what? I don't think we get to know much about Donna, but I have seen a few things on TikTok where people are like, Donna's whole backstory is really interesting, and I haven't really looked up anything. I really want to deep dive a little bit on it because I feel like she is a very interesting character, but I don't know much.
She's super interesting. And to go over it, like it's like I said, there is a backstory, but there isn't that much yet. There might be a DLC where we get to play through this, I don't know. But really, Donna was a really shy kid from the beginning when she grew up. And she lived with her mother and father in this Beneviento estate that is very beautifully placed by a waterfall, a bit secluded away from the village. Pretty. It's super pretty. And she, at a young age, got a scar across her face. And this made her even more shy because she was scared that people would ask her about it. She was very self-conscious of it. So she decided to stay inside more and more and more. So her father, to cheer her up, he started making her a doll. So he made her a doll that was dressed in a white wedding dress, and she named her Angie, which is the famous doll from this boss fight. And that her father...
He's awake!
Oh, she's great. I love her, but I hate her.
She's so creepy.
And... also, so she got this doll and she got into like creating dolls by herself. Like her father helped her with that a little bit. Yeah. But she was still very shy. But she still went out. Like she still went out a little bit since there were lords and ladies. They were still like high regarded stuff like that in the village. But her parents sadly passed away, and I'm not sure why. It might be a sickness of some kind, but they passed away and left her with everything, a huge mansion by herself and her doll. And this made her seclude herself completely.
Even further,
She decided to not leave the house. She was inside of there and just closed herself in, pretty much. And she started making numerous dolls to keep doing what her father did. Pretty much. She was like doing it for her father, and she dressed in this mourning gown, black gown, where she hides her face because she was mourning her parents, her father specifically. The only person she really talked about was her like garden keeper. What would you call
gardener?
Gardener.
I would call that a gardener.
Gardener, thank you. She talked to her gardener.
Garden keeper.
Because he was like a nice old man. She had knew him from a very long time. So she talked to him a little bit. And one day she came to him and asked him to plant this very specific yellow flower all over. And he was like, sure, no problem. I can do that. And then when he had done that and they were planted, he started to get a little bit dizzy. He started to get a little bit like, what is happening? And then suddenly he saw his passed away wife in front of him. And they talked, and he was really happy to see her. He thought that like, so this is a spirit coming to talk to me and to give me peace of mind. And then she vanished, and he told this to Donna, and she was ecstatic. She was super happy. She was like, "Oh shit, that's great. That's great to hear. You should come by my mansion. I can show you all of your I can show you all of your family, your passed away family. I can show you them, and you can meet them again." And that is the last we hear about this gardener, sadly. So there's a lot to this character that I love very much, because when her parents died, let's hop back a few years here. When her parents died and she started secluding herself, Mother Miranda came to her and was like, "Hey, you don't have parents. I don't have a kid. Can I adopt you?" So she unofficially adopted Donna. And that made the gardener really happy. That made Donna very happy. She was like, "I finally have someone who loves me, even though I have a scar. Even though I make dolls, like even though I'm very shy." And then Miranda started experimenting on her during this period. And as she saw the mutation grow on Donna's face, and then she decided that she was too secluded, too shy to be a good vessel for Eva. So she also abandoned her, which made her very emotionally troubled, very sad, depressed, everything in the book, I would say. And this is also right before she told the gardener with the flowers and his family and all this. So she pretty much uses a hallucinationist flower to make people start to hallucinate, and then she can control the dolls to make them interact with people in ways.
So she kind of uses the flower as a way for her to boost the psychedelic effect, but she can also kind of manipulate psychic effects in the dolls and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Gotcha. So both Donna and Angie, her doll, have Kadu parasites in them. So she can control Angie. So because she started grabbing Kadu parasites and putting them in her dolls, so she could control the dolls. Hence Angie is so awake and so her in a way. Well, Donna,
they're kind of the same.
She says one sentence in the entire game.
Yeah, but I think Angie's almost like a limb for Donna.
Yeah,
to kind of
definitely.
To kind of share what she's thinking and all that stuff, but through a vessel almost. I also really like, because I read something about the costume design, which I thought was very, very cool.
Yeah.
That Donna is dressed in all black in mourning clothes, and then Angie is dressed in a wedding gown and stuff, and it's kind of almost like they represent life and death, and Angie is kind of almost the living part of Donna, because Donna is secluded in herself, and Angie is her way of communicating with the world, and kind of like Angie's almost the living part of Donna almost.
Very
I think
so.
That's very fascinating. I think they put a lot of thought into the characters, the costume design. I thought it was really good game.
Super cool. One thing more about Angie, about the character design and stuff like that, is that both Angie's and Donna's face is mutated, or at least Donna's face is mutated from the Kadu parasite, but it makes the shape of a sun and a moon.
Oh yeah, which is
the crest of the Beneviento estate. Yeah. And also Angie has this crest and moon built inside her face. Her father
like
made
her
her
face
look like that.
Yeah, I think it's so cool.
And that is just, you don't really see it first, but then when you read about it, you're like, I can't unsee it. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
She's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah,
She's
same
so cool.
here.
I hope we get to know more.
Yeah, for sure. I hope it would be really interesting to have a DLC where we get to know the lords a little bit more.
Yeah, the origins of some kind.
Yeah.
Would be nice.
For sure.
But yeah, that's what I have.
That's Resident Evil, the whole Resident Evil fucking franchise. Almost. Like, I mean, obviously we missed a lot because there is a lot. But I mean, that's pretty much what you were able to summarize in 3 episodes. It's been 3 long episodes and jam-packed with information and discussion and everything. And I've really fucking enjoyed it. I really have. I think, unfortunately, we couldn't really go into detail more on the other lords and characters and stuff because honestly, we're kind of gonna have to wrap up here because we're almost on 2 hours.
When I was writing this down, I started with Donna and I was like, no, we're just gonna talk about them because we're gonna have, there's so much to talk about in everyone, and
for sure.
There's just not time. I feel like we should just talk about the ones that really grabbed our interest, and we kind of did. So.
Donna is a very fascinating boss, and the whole experience was very fascinating. I would like to know more about Lady Dimitrescu's origin and her daughters and stuff too. I feel like that would be very fascinating. But at another time.
At another time, future, yes. We've been recording for 2 hours.
Yeah, I feel like maybe for season 2 of Prattle Potion, a deep dive into different characters would be very interesting.
That would be really fun.
For sure.
I'm very into that.
Hell yeah, me too. But so I think we're gonna wrap up here. Like we said. Good. It's going to be this episode, and then next week we're going to have the season finale of season 1 of Prattle Potion, which feels so cool.
The season is ending. It's a season finale.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
Next week I'm going to repeat the dates and stuff again, but the Prattle Potion podcast will be back on August 6th. You can really re-listen to the episodes if that's your sort of thing. You can also join our Discord. We will be active there all summer. We will also be streaming on twitch.tv/xravenite or x/Tazas. That's what I wanted to say. X-Tazas. No, it's not X-Tazas.
No, it's not.
It's just Tazas. But you can find those links in the description as per usual. You can listen to the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. And you can also find us on Instagram for related pictures. And I'm sure a few updates during the summer to just
definitely
keep you guys informed of what's going on, you know?
Yeah. And be sure to check out this week's Instagram post because you will get pictures of the lords, of Ethan and Mia, of everything I can get my hands on. It will be a big post.
Hell yeah. So, it has to be,
a lot of pictures.
Yes.
Always good.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Take care of each other. We will talk to you guys next week.
Yeah.
For some good, cozy season finale, recapping of the season, etc. And until next time, take care. And thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Yes, Beat.
Yes, Beat. Bye.